Hello in the OP van, this is Mark in the commentary box. This will be the kind of level that I'll be using, and I'm aware that we're starting to count down in about 30 seconds, so okay, perfect, thank you. Hello and welcome to another gorgeous autumn afternoon here in northern Italy. Hello everyone, it's Mark James in the commentary box here in Monza, the Temple of Speed, the third oldest purpose-built racing circuit in the world for this weekend's 2 rounds of the 2020 TCR Europe season. If you were with us yesterday, you'll have seen, I think it's fair to say, probably the most incident-packed race of the year so far, and that resulted in Julien Brichet taking his first win of the season. It's a similar kind of day to yesterday. As you can see, lots of blue sky, some high cloud, but no threat of rain, unlike on Friday when free practice 1 was almost literally washed out. 24 cars entered for this weekend. That was down to, 25 cars entered for the weekend. That was down to 24 before we arrived at Monza with the withdrawal of Florian Brichet with a clashing prior commitment. Of the 24, 22 took the start yesterday, and I can tell you that 23 will take the start today. Sadly, no Andreas Beckmann, even though he's on the original entry list. As I mentioned yesterday, he injured his left wrist in 2 quite big incidents at Zolder a fortnight ago. He's got strapping, he's got a support on his left wrist, and he's just in too much discomfort, too much pain, and it's the left hand palm, left thumb that takes a lot of the punishment in the car, because that's the side of the Hyundai that does the downshifting. And so, chatting to his driver coach, Josh Files, last year's TCR Europe champion earlier on, he was saying that basically if it was the right wrist, the right thumb, it wouldn't be so bad because it was the upshift side, but on the left, that's the side that takes all the punishment under the hard braking, and so Andreas electing not to start. It is, though, his teammate. You just saw John Filippi on pole position for this second race of the weekend, but what will that man do? Disappointment yesterday for Mike Halder, a DNF after a couple of collisions with Matteo Homola. The car rebuilt overnight, as a number of others, which we'll talk about in a moment. But Mike Halder, winner of the first race of the season at Le Castellet 5 weeks ago, and his sister Michelle, winner of race 2 a fortnight ago in Zolder. So from the front row of the grid, what can Mike Halder do this afternoon? That's the man who is currently in 3rd place in the championship, Nicolas Bart, after finishing on the podium in yesterday's race. The young Belgian driver in the Audi RS3 LMS, which we thought would be quick here. Sadly, Mehdi Benani, one of the other DNFs in yesterday's race, and so all eyes of the team on young Nicolas. Another DNF for both the Clarets, Teddy and Jimmy. Teddy going out after a clash with Pepe Oriola, and Pepe quite vocal on some of the touring car websites overnight about driving standards and the Peugeots being strong here, etc. But the 2 big news stories, I mentioned 23 starters as opposed to 22 yesterday. Jean-Laurent Navarro will start right from the back of the grid after an engine change last night, an engine driven down from Peugeot Sport, and the team finishing work at around midnight. Unlike these guys, Matteo Homola, I mentioned him with that clash with Mike Halder. The front of the car heavily damaged, needed an engine change, but the steward said it was force majeure, so no grid penalty for Matteo. But his mechanics finished rebuilding that car at 4 o'clock this morning. So what can he do to repay his mechanics for all that hard work? There is Pepe Oriola in the highest placed of the Brutal Fish Honda Civics. Pepe really needs a good result. We keep saying that. And his bad luck just continues. Another DNF yesterday. But Julien Brichet, car 24. Again, like the Audis, we knew the Peugeots would be strong here. And Julien, after qualifying on pole here last year, winning race 1 and storming through the field from P10 on the grid to finish P2 in race 2, can he repeat that win from yesterday to get his championship ambitions back on track this year? There is Jimmy Claret, again like his brother, retiring yesterday, as we take a look at the starting grid for this second race of the weekend. John Filippi on pole then, alongside Mike Halder. Row 2 is Nicolas Bart and Teddy Claret. Matteo Homola and Pepe Oriola, row 3. Julien Brichet, Jimmy Claret on row 4 of the grid. Row 5 is Dan Lloyd and Mehdi Benani, the front row of the grid from yesterday, of course. Danny Nage, Felice Jelmini from TCR Italy. guest driving this weekend. Jessica Beckman and Michelle Halder, the two ladies alongside each other on the grid, and laying off in the Cupra, the sole Cupra, lining up alongside Victor Davidovsky from Macedonia. Then it's Riba alongside Stefan Vontaja, Gilles Colombani and Luca Rangoni in the Fiat Tipo, Kevin Jacon and Sami Tofik, we'll talk more about in a moment. And right at the back of the grid, I mentioned Jean-Laurent Navarro after that engine change. Sami Tofik, incidentally, penalised in total 3 times, but for 2 incidents. A jump start yesterday, 30-second penalty, and then the contact with Martin Riba, first bringing a 30-second penalty again, but also a 3-place grid penalty for this race. So Tofik punished heavily for yesterday, and that was pretty much it. Several other incidents under investigation by the stewards, but no further action in all of them. As we see there, our points leader, 51 points, Dan Lloyd now ahead of Mike Halder. Nicolas Bart, as I mentioned, having moved up into 3rd ahead of Benani after his DNF yesterday. John Filippi, P5 in the driver's standings ahead of Danny Nage. Michelle Halder, after her win in Zolder, is 7th in the series alongside Matteo Homola, 6 points ahead. The German lady driver, then Teddy Claret and Nestor Girolami. Remember him from round 1 at Le Castellet, deputising for Victor Davidovsky, who couldn't leave Macedonia because of COVID restrictions. But happily, Victor able to travel to Italy. And fingers crossed he'll be with us for the remainder of the season. Of course, this race marks the halfway point in the season. After this race, we will be 6 rounds gone, 6 to go. And whatever happens in terms of points and results, Dan Lloyd will leave Monza as the leader of the drivers' standings. 40 points on offer for victory here, of course. And Dan Lloyd saying yesterday that it's all about consistency now, not necessarily wins. He was saying that he had a vibration in the car yesterday, quite an aggressive vibration, he described it. And he retired last year here because of a puncture, so wasn't going to risk pushing Julien Brichet. Now, I mentioned the Fiat Tipo. There is Luca Rangoni, car 64. That's the world debut of the latest TCR car, developed by the Technodom Sport team in Italy. Very much a private development. The Fiat Tipo we've known about for quite some time, probably a year or two, or probably more actually, but finally appearing in competition for the first time, but on a temporary homologation, so not eligible for points. If he'd been eligible for points, he would have picked up a couple yesterday, but he is effectively transparent, is the way that it's been described. And so he's racing because there is no better form of testing than actually trying it in competition. As we look at the old banking, now I mentioned Monza, the 3rd oldest purpose-built race circuit in the world. And to help you out with the pub quizzes, the 2 older circuits, Brooklands in the UK and Indianapolis in the United States. Built in 1922 in the Royal Park on the outskirts of Milan in the suburb of Monza. The Temple of Speed has, well, some ghosts around it, you could say, but anybody who comes here really has to pay a visit to the banking. It is quite impressive, the steepness of the banking, which still exists, although not used for competition these days. We look then at the grid starting to form up for the 2nd race of the weekend, round 6 of the 2020 Europe Series in TCR Racing. 23 cars. There is Navarro in the blue JSB Competition Peugeot 308 at the back of the field. And so many variables, so many what-ifs, so many drivers really needing a good result. Homola, Nage, Oriola, Brichet really needing another victory here, or at the very least a podium finish. And also needing Dan Lloyd to start experiencing some of the bad luck that they've experienced so far this series. So we're waiting for the green flag. About 30 seconds or so earlier than we were predicting, but we are almost underway. The marshal waves the flag. The radio messages will be getting through, and so we are waiting for the lights that go on and off. We are racing. Watch Brichet And indeed, it is Dan Lloyd who out-drags Brichet. Dan Lloyd comes around the Peugeot, makes a better start, as does, right at the back of the grid, Navarro. But it is Mike Halder from second on the grid who leads John Filippi, bumping and barging through the first chicane. And the field, I wait to say it, the field safely through the first chicane for the first of our 10 laps here at Monza. Lots of incidents yesterday, lots of fingers being pointed after the race. And Mike Halder already out in front with John Filippi in close attendance into the second chicane. Oriola now third. Nicolas Bart having dropped to fourth. Behind Bart is Teddy Claret, then Matto Homola, then Jimmy Claret, then Benani. And alongside Yelmini is couldn't quite catch it, I'm afraid. Down towards Ascari, the third chicane, and alongside Mike Halder goes John Filippi. Mike Halder, though, has the line for the Ascari chicane, or has Filippi just nosed in head? I don't quite think so. Oriola just behind the pair. Halder goes in, Pepe Oriola takes a look up the inside, and through he goes. Brilliantly timed from the Spaniard. Pepe Oriola moves the Honda into second place. Honda's first and second currently. Mike Halder from Pepe Oriola. They come down the back straight as Oriola breaks the aerodynamic toe, pops out to the left-hand side. As Nicolas Bart, we saw there, squeezing past into third place, going through the Parabolica for the first time. Up towards the finish line then for the first time. The start and finish lines offset here at Monza, 309 meters between them. So they cross the line for the first time then. Pepe Oriola from Mike Halder. Pepe Oriola having squeezed past then, coming out of the Parabolica. Pepe Oriola leads from Mike Halder with Nicolas Bart already up alongside, going into the chicane. And Bart has squeezed through into second. Halder drops to third. Clattering across the curbs is Jimmy Claret alongside his brother Teddy there with the red striped Peugeot. But Pepe Oriola, and there is Julien Brichet. Dan Lloyd started so well, getting past Brichet. Lloyd, though, down in seventh currently. There he is. Up towards the first Lesmo corner they go. Oriola. And cars 16 and 81 at turn 4. Under investigation. 16 is Leonov, and 81 is Vontager. Under the bridge then, down towards Ascari for the second time. Oriola leads from Bart now, also having got through his Homola. I did say he'd be looking to repay his mechanics for their hard work last night. Homola up to third, ahead of Mike Halder. Julien Brichet fifth, Mehdi Benani sixth, then Dan Lloyd, then Jimmy and Teddy Claret, and John Filippi rounding off the top 10. Oriola weaving to break the toe, coming down towards the Parabolica. And Brichet squeezing past Mike Halder. So Brichet takes another place, moving up to P4. Remember the job he did last year in race 2. Started from P10, worked his way through to P2. Couldn't make it stick on Josh Files, who took the championship. But a terrific drive last year as Dan Lloyd is alongside Mehdi Benani. This is the scrap for sixth as they go down the start-finish straight, down towards the first chicane. On the brakes then for Oriola, Bart, Homola, Brichet, Mike Halder, then Benani. Quite untidy, that's Martin Rieber taking a slight shortcut through the chicane. And that's Leonov, I think. Taking the escape road. Michel Halder and Jess Beckman were scrapping within the top 10 yesterday. And we did see Michelle was running ahead of Jessica until a couple of laps from the end, when Jessica had got past, and it seemed that one of the bonnet catches on Michelle's Honda had come loose, and so the bonnet was flapping and acting like a bit of a parachute, dragging air in and slowing the car, enabling Jess to get past. What can Michelle do today? Currently she is P14 and Jessica P15. Lloyd up to P6, as you can see on the left-hand side of your screen. There is our race leader, Pepe Oriola, nearly a second clear of Nicolas Bart in the Audi. And then Julien Brichet taking a look up the inside of Matto Homola, squirrely under braking, but he's done it. The Peugeot passes the Hyundai for the third of the podium places. And we still have 7 laps to go of this race. What can Julien Brichet do? Having started from 7th on the grid, he's now up to P3. And it's Nicolas Bart ahead of him, Pepe Oriola still out in front, and Homola tucked in behind the Peugeot. There is Dan Lloyd, Jimmy Claret, then John Filippi splitting the 2 Clarets, Teddy in the Peugeot with the red stripe, Jimmy in the one with the blue, there he is. And Dan Lloyd slowing. Dan Lloyd is in trouble. Our championship leader is slowing. And I do hope I didn't put the commentator's curse on him. I was saying yesterday of the consistency of Dan Lloyd has given him that big lead in the series. And you can see in the back of your screens, the top of the screens, Dan Lloyd is pulling off the track. And so Dan Lloyd out of this second race at Monza. Everybody looks to have got away cleanly in that replay of the restart. And looking at the back of the field, Kevin Jacon dropping right to the back, clattering through the chicane. But Pepe Oriola leads for Brutal Fish, his teammate Dan Lloyd, and there is Michel Halder. And so I mentioned the battle of the ladies. Michel Halder in the pits, and Dan Lloyd, in fact it's Mike Halder, apologies. Getting the colour scheme wrong, and Julien Brichet moves up another place. Julien Brichet now P2, having got past Nicolas Bart while we were looking at the action in the pits. So Julien Brichet, having presumably heard from his team that Dan Lloyd is parked up on the run down towards the second chicane, but just as he did last year in the second race here at Monza, Julien Brichet is carving his way through the field, already up into second place behind Pepe Oriola, as John Filippi dives up the inside of looking to dive up the inside of Jimmy Claret, I was saying, as Danny Nage runs past Colombani, and that's the action going on at the bottom end of the points. Nage currently P15, laying off in 16th out of the points, as is Colombani, Rangoni, Navarro, Vontaja and Jacon. And there is Jess Beckman, P14 currently. Taking a look at Sami Taufik ahead in the Audi. And then there is Michel Halder. It would appear that the yellow stripes, the yellow front end of Michel's car was potentially used to repair Mike's. Hence my confusion when I saw a yellow striped Profi car Team Honda in the pits. So Bart now coming under attack from Homola, who really fancies a podium finish in this second race at Monza. Oriola leads from Brichet now by about 1.1 seconds. Then it's Bart there on the left of your screen. Homola tucked in right behind. Hard on the brakes for the Parabolica. Just behind Homola then is Benani in the number 250 Audi. Homola goes the long way around Bart. This drag down the start-finish straight. You'd think would go the way of the Audi, but indeed Homola just noses ahead. Bart has the line for the first chicane though. And just behind the pair is Benani in P5. Behind them, Jimmy Claret, John Filippi, Teddy Claret. Oh, and late on the brakes, and Homola will have to give the position back. Nosed ahead briefly, but outbraked himself into the chicane. Took to the escape road and indeed has already given the place back. Meanwhile, Mehdi Benani under attack from Jimmy Claret. We know both the Audis and the Peugeots are strong here. Which is the stronger? And definitely the gap is coming down now. Half a second is all that separates Julien Brichet from our race leader, Pepe Oriola. We're on lap 6 of 10. Pepe Oriola leads. Julien Brichet second. Third is Nicolas Bart. Fourth is Matteo Homola. Fifth is Mehdi Benani. Under attack from Jimmy Claret in sixth. And that is Colombani, Gilles Colombani, in the Claret sport car. And clattering across the curbs at the chicane. The 55 car. Excuse me, the 66 car. That's what threw me. The gold-striped Peugeot as we look at the scrap for the lead. Julien Brichet. Is he close enough to make a move on Pepe Oriola into the Parabolica? Not this time. Same situation between Bart and Homola for third. And Benani and Jimmy Claret, similar gaps for fifth. So three great scraps going on at the head of the field. Oriola against Brichet for the lead. Double yellows waving at turn one, so Oriola will come out of the chicane in the lead. No overtaking under double yellows because of Colombani's car. Bart still ahead of Homola. Benani still ahead of Jimmy Claret. Then it's Filippi, Teddy Claret, Felici Almini, Victor Davidovski, Martin Rieber, Michel Halder, Sami Taufik, Jessica Beckman and Danny Nage. Those are the drivers in the points at the moment as we look at Julien Brichet making his move. Oriola defends strongly though, blocking, sticking his elbows out and refusing to yield to the Peugeot as Julien Brichet takes a look. But look at this. The pair running right together. And Oriola, having said a number of times that he's very experienced in touring cars and TCR and all the rest of it, he will be having to use all his experience to keep Julien Brichet at bay, who is desperate for that victory. So Honda leads Peugeot, leads Audi, Hyundai, Audi, Peugeot, Hyundai, Filippi, Peugeot, Teddy Claret, Felici Almini, you can just see at the back of the shot in that turquoise Hyundai, is ninth ahead of Davidovski in the PSS Honda. So then, another chance. A good overtaking spot as Brichet just jinks to the side, just to maybe unsettle Oriola a little as they head down to the Parabolica. Things remain as they are though. Nicolas Bart in third, Homola in fourth, Benani fifth, Jimmy Claret sixth. There is Yalmini, currently fourth in TCR Italy, and coming along to Monza to see what he can do in the Europe Series. Hard on the brakes, this pair, as they come into the chicane. Still no change. But is that Jessica Beckman diving up the inside of Danny Nage? That's P14, P15 currently. As we look at Matteo Homola going side to side with Nicolas Bart, that's the scrap for third in the background. Oriola, though, keeps the lead going into the second chicane. Homola has the line for the chicane. Matteo Homola back up into the podium places. Matteo Homola retakes third from Nicolas Bart. Benani scrapping with Claret, and in fact the Peugeot has made it through. Jimmy Claret takes fifth from Benani. So after so many laps where we thought something would change, this is where it happens. Lap 8 of 10. John Filippi scrapping with Teddy Claret and forced wide. And dropping behind Yelmini, who moves up a place. Let's just take another look at that. And through. Oh, and a big tap sideways. Filippi on Benani. Two laps to go. Oriola weaving once again, coming down this long back straight towards the Parabolica. And you can see that Jimmy Claret is now making a move on Bart, who steadfastly refuses to be intimidated. This will be worth watching. But it's the battle for the lead that I think will captivate us for these final two laps. The penultimate lap then, 9 of 10. Oriola leads Brichet by something like a quarter of a second. Once again, hard onto the brakes for the first chicane. Time rapidly running out for Brichet, as that is Bart locking up, getting past Jimmy Claret, or in fact defending from Claret. Bart 4th, Claret 5th, Teddy Claret 6th. And Yelmini's in the mix as well. Yelmini is 7th ahead of Benani, Filippi and Davidovski. Once again, Oriola defends. But look at that, millimetres almost between the pair as Brichet clatters across the curb. And there in the background, Homola does likewise into the first of the Lesmo corners. There is Yelmini, there is Filippi, there is Benani. 7th, 8th and 9th. Homola then still 3rd in the Hyundai. There is Bart having dropped to 4th and under serious challenge now from Jimmy Claret. But not as much as the challenge that Pepe Oriola is facing from Julien Brichet. This scrap has gone on for pretty much half the race. A brilliant touring car race yesterday, although that, I suspect, will depend on your view and the teams you support. But lots of incidents, lots of talking points, and more again today. We'll try and find out what happened to Dan Lloyd, as Jimmy Claret just thinks better of moving across on Nicolas Bart. Leaders then on their final lap. As Bart, look at that, Bart and Claret separated by less than a metre, a couple of feet I was going to say, but I was using millimetres earlier on. And it's done it, Claret moves on Bart. Jimmy Claret, I think, moves up into 4th at the chicane. And Pepe Oriola determined to take this win. Equally as determined as Julien Brichet, who just moves out. Again, though, Oriola has the line. So behind them, we should see, there he is, Matto Homola in 3rd. Then it's Jimmy Claret having moved past Nicolas Bart for 4th place. And does Jimmy Claret have enough time to make a move on Homola? You wouldn't have thought so. Something like half a lap remaining now as the cars come out of the second Lesmo. Down this straight, under the bridge. Into Ascari for the final time. And once again, Oriola moves to block. He has the line. Oh, the pair almost side by side going into Ascari. Thumping across the curbs. Now, this is where Julien Brichet, if he's going to make any move, has to do it. The run down to the Parabolica for the final time. He moves out into clean air, but again, Oriola has the line. He moves across. And Brichet will have to go the long way around the Parabolica if he's to do anything about Oriola. I don't think he can. Oriola has the line. They come through the Parabolica for the first time, for the final time, and Oriola will see the checkered flag waiting for him. There it is. Pepe Oriola takes the victory in the second race here in Monza, flashing his lights in delight. But what a brilliant drive from Julien Brichet. Matteo Homola third, Jimmy Claret fourth, Nicolas Bart fifth, Teddy Claret sixth, Felice Elmini seventh, John Filippi eighth, Mehdi Benani ninth, Martin Rieber finishes in the top 10 for Brutal Fish, then Michel Halder, Sami Tofik, Danny Nage, Jessica Beckman P14, and Evgeny Leonov rounds off the top 15, takes the final point. Navarro finishes 16th. A shame that that dramatic overnight engine change didn't reward the team with a point. But Vontaja is 17th. Rangoni brings the Tipo home. Again, remember, even if he'd finished in the top 15, he's invisible in terms of the points. But the Technodon guys will be happy enough. 2 finishes. They just need to work now on the chassis, which they say is something like 90% there, but particularly the engine, which is about 60% there. And will we see that Fiat Tipo again this season? Potentially at the next round in Barcelona in 2 weeks' time, where, of course, Oriola will be on home ground. Well, that's shaken things up a bit. A DNF, his first of the season for Dan Lloyd. And the incident between Benani and Filippi at turn 6, which is the second Lesmo, is under investigation. Sorry, the first Lesmo, I should say, turn 6. So the stewards, again, having a few things to look at after this race. Yesterday, as I said, it was only Taufik that was penalised, and there were also considerations on things like engine changes and the like. On this occasion, though, fingers crossed, things a lot more straightforward. But Matteo Homola, well done to him for another podium finish for the BRC team, and well done to his mechanics, who were looking a little bleary-eyed, I had to say, earlier on. The espresso machine was working overtime in the BRC awning as they were just putting the finishing touches to Homola's car. But Pepe Oriola, the second win of the season for the Brutal Fish team, and our 6th different race winner from 6 races. You can definitely can't say that TCR Europe this year is predictable in any shape or form. Matteo Homola then finished on the podium last time out in Zolder a fortnight ago, and presumably at one stage thought his weekend here at Monza was pretty much ruined after that incident with Mike Halder yesterday. But thanks to his team, he records another podium finish. Disappointment, though, for Danny Nage in the other BRC Hyundai, just 13th. But hopefully Pepe will be in a much more smiley mood than he was when I saw him in the paddock last night. He really wasn't a happy bunny then, but fingers crossed, by the time Annette Cuvari speaks to him in probably about a minute and a half's time, he'll have brightened up tremendously, and championship battle underway, but also another first place finish for the Brutal Fish team. So congratulations for Matteo Homola, and also thanks to his mechanics for that rebuild overnight. As our race winner appears, Pepe Oriola, a winner of round 6 of TCR Europe, and I think that echoes what I was saying a moment or two ago. A much happier man today. There's his dad on the right of your screen, always tremendously supportive of Pepe. And indeed Geordie, when he was racing at the beginning of TCR. And again, big smiles from Julien. Another useful haul of points for Julien and JSB Competition, even if it wasn't quite the second victory of the weekend that he was hoping for. Helmet off, though, for Pepe.
Amazing job. Amazing job.
Amazing job. I think that says it all. But Julien Brichet kept him honest, kept pushing him right to the end. Here's his dad.
I told you. Papa?
There's Martin Rieber, team boss. Martin himself finishing 10th in the race, so picking up more points for the team. Let's get confirmation then of the result before we speak to our race winner. Round 6 of the series. The winner, Pepe Oriola from Spain in a Brutal Fish Honda Civic, ahead of Julien Brichet in the Peugeot, Matto Homola in the Honda, and then behind the podium finishers, Jimmy Claret, Nicolas Bartz, Teddy Claret, Felice Almini, John Filippi, Mehdi Benani, and Martin Rieber. Again, Brutal Fish Honda. In 11th, Michel Halder, then Sami Tofik, Danny Nage, Jessica Beckman, and Evgeny Leonov. And outside the points, Navarro, Vontaja, Rangoni in the Fiat Tipo, Jacon and Davidovsky 1 lap down. And then the final non-finishers, Colombani, Lloyd, and Mike Halder. Okay, then, let's head down to the pit lane. Let's hear from our race winner, Pepe Oriola. He's with Annette Kuvari.
What a brilliant race, Pepe. Congratulations. You were like a rock star. Was it a tough one?
Yeah, it was really tough one. I managed to have a good start. All the people, thank you. All the people were pretty fair, and then I just tried to push as much as I could. But I knew that Julien had a better pace, so I tried to save some tires till he arrived. And then it was a really good fight. He had a bit more top speed, but I was toppling a little bit in the first chicane, so I managed to do it. I'm really happy for the team, for myself. It's been a fucking really hard year. And to win like this, it's something that it makes me proud of. I think the Honda will also be happy to win here. Just is really close from here. And on a circuit that it was not for us, because I was suffering out on the top speed. But I'm really happy.
Thank you so much. It's time to celebrate.
Thank you.
I think there's a clause in my contract somewhere that says that I have to apologize for the bad language in that answer, but you can kind of understand why. The emotions running high for Pepe Oriola and the Brutal Fish team. Pepe Oriola taking the win here in Monza. Let's relive some of the highlights of that race. Congratulations then to Pepe Oriola, who Annette described as a rock star. I'm sure he'll take that every time. The winner then of round 6 of TCR Europe 2020, Pepe Oriola, finishing ahead of Julien Brichet after a tough but fair scrap, you'd have to say. Brichet keeping Pepe Oriola honest right until the end of the race. Matto Homola also driving the race of his life pretty much to finish on the podium. And Jimmy Claret too, dispatching Nicolas Bartz to finish 4th. So incidents aplenty, just as yesterday's race won. But Pepe Oriola will have no complaints as Matto Homola heads out onto the podium to start the podium ceremony then after race 2 here in Monza. So masks on, trophies and champagne already laid out on the podium for the drivers to collect. Julien Brichet congratulates Matto, and we wait for our race winner. Fist bumps from Pepe Oriola as he climbs onto the top step of the podium for the first time in quite a while. A representative from the winning team. And the national anthem of Spain awaits us as Nicolas Bart and Martin Rieber come out to take their places for the Yokohama trophies. So we haven't heard the Spanish national anthem for a while, and Pepe Oriola will be more than happy with that. As I mentioned, Yokohama Trophy winners for the rookie, it's Nicolas Bart, and for the Diamond Trophy, for the more mature driver, points go to Martin Rieber on this occasion. Social distancing, what social distancing, as they gather together for the winner's photo. Well done to all our podium finishers, and in a lot of cases to their teams, their engineers and their mechanics for all the hard work getting the cars back out today. Brutal Fish getting together for a team photo on the podium. Race victory, the maximum points in Yokohama Trophy Diamond category, and also, of course, the highest placed team, as Mato Homola is the last to leave, clutching his trophy and his champagne. So that then was Monza for you, the third of the 6 events that make up this shortened, compact season of TCR Europe 2020. We've already had Le Castellet, we've had Zolder, and now we've had Monza. And this is the position in the drivers' points, I assume. Indeed, it is halfway through the season. As I mentioned, Dan Lloyd, whatever happened in that race, would leave as race leader, as championship leader. Nicolas Bart moves up into 2nd. Benani moves back up into 3rd. Mike Halder drops to 4th. Homola up to 6th. Teddy Claret up to 8th, and Julien Brichet now in the top 10, 80 points down on Dan Lloyd with 6 rounds still to go. And that result lifts Oriola from pretty much nowhere to 11th in the table, 89 points down. But remember, there are 10 points up for grab for fastest in qualifying, and also 40 points for each race victory. So each race weekend potentially can reward you with 90 points if you're quickest in qualifying and win both races. So let's wrap things up from Monza. Thanks to you for your company. Thanks to, in this case, it was Luca Rangoni for debuting the latest TCR car. The team can be happy with 2 finishes. And I think mixed fortunes for some of the teams. The Clarets, for example, getting both their cars of Jimmy and Teddy in the top 6 in this race, but also some disappointments because of retirements. And I think there'll be tales to tell in the paddock as we head down a little bit later on. And I do wonder if we'll see that Tipo again later in the year. But fingers crossed, it'll be in our next race weekend, which is in just 2 weeks' time, where we gather for the 4th race weekend of TCR Europe, and that will be at the Circuit of Catalunya in Barcelona. Fingers crossed we'll see you then, but for now, goodbye.